Okay. Okay, share screen. Okay, can everyone see my screen there?
Yes.
Yes,
Good.
I can. Yeah.
Okay, aloha and welcome everybody. My name is Gigi Kyrell. I am the grant specialist for the Department of Hawaiian Homelands. Thank you for taking time away from your family and from your busy schedules to join us this evening. This is the second pre-conference session on the DHHL grant applications. These sessions are optional. There is one more session on Friday, November 14 at 6 o'clock. If you know of anyone who would like to attend, please let them know. The same presentation will be repeated at each session and will cover all 4 DHHL grant opportunities. We'll quickly go over the grant solicitations that the department is offering in this fiscal year. The fiscal year runs from July 1, 2025 to June 30, 2026. Today's slides can also be found on the DHHL grants webpage. They are posted under the November 7 meeting. We're using the same exact slides. The meeting is being recorded, and we will post the recording on the DHHL grants webpage. For now, we ask that everyone please mute your computer microphone and mute your cell phone if you called in. This will help to reduce any background noise. Excuse me. Okay, this is the agenda for this evening. We will go over the 4 RFPs. Excuse me. The commission approved a budget of $10 million total for the department's grants program. These are state general funds, so we have to follow state rules. The department is offering 4 types of grants this year for nonprofits that work with our communities and lessees. The first one is improvements to facilities located in existing homesteads. Second one is program implementation in existing homesteads. This is for creating a new program or expanding an existing one. It is also the catch-all if it doesn't fit in the other grant RFPs. The third one is community capacity building to strengthen communities to pursue their community visions and projects. And the fourth one is a new grant for disaster preparedness and mitigation. I'll be going through these grants in more detail in this presentation. Again, we ask that you hold on to questions until the end or type it in the chat room. Your question may be answered as I go through the presentation. At the end of the presentation, I am limited to only responding to clarifying questions about the request for proposals. I encourage you to submit questions in writing to the grant's email address posted on this slide, dhhl.grants@hawaii.gov. If you send in questions by December 5, we will have a record of the questions and be able to respond shortly after that. It is best to send us an email rather than a phone call so we can respond in writing and have a record. We will compile all questions and responses to promote better understanding of the RFPs, and we'll post them as an addenda on the State Procurement Office HANDS website. They may also be posted on the DHHL grants webpage. Again, the purpose of this pre-offer conference session is to provide an orientation to the 4 grant opportunities. We call them requests for proposals, or RFP. They're also referred to as competitive sealed proposals. For interested parties to become familiar with them, these pre-offer sessions are intended to orient interested parties to prepare and properly submit a proposal to DHHL. The RFPs are posted both on the State Procurement Office, HAND's website, as well as on the DHHL grants webpage. You are strongly advised to check the HAND's website for the actual RFPs, any addenda, responses to written questions, and any other updated information. The HAND's website is posted on this slide. Okay, there's only a couple of us here tonight. So here are our meeting kuleana. Many of you might be familiar with these if you've attended any DHHL meeting. But these are generally the meeting kuleana we all have: to be respectful of the person talking, give chance for others to speak before speaking again, raise your hand until you're called. And lastly, if we do not get to your questions, please email us. Where to download the RFPs? Again, the State Procurement Office website, HANDS. This is the address. In the search bar that is labeled Enter Keywords, type in the specific number that you are interested in. You don't need to hit any other key. Just scroll down the screen and the item should pull right up. This is what the screen looks like. The HANDS Bidding Opportunities webpage. So you see where it says Enter Keywords circled in red. This is where you would put RFP-26-HHL-002 or whatever number you're looking for. Here's another tip. If you're interested in all of the department's solicitation notices, where it says Show More Criteria at the bottom of the red circle, use the drop-down menu and click on Hawaiian Homelands. There you will see all 4 grant RFPs, as well as all other active DHHL procurement notices for goods and services. It's a very handy website. Here's a handy summary chart for all 4 solicitations. So we'll quickly go through them. The first one, RFP 002. This is for improvements to facilities located in existing homesteads. The key word is existing homesteads. That applies to all 4 RFPs, that the project must be in existing homesteads and benefit lessees. This is not a program this year to address any applicant programs. The maximum application for this RFP is $1 million. Total available statewide is $5 million. Examples are community centers, farmers markets, land stewardship projects, etc. Facility must be on Hawaiian homelands, and you must already have site control, or at least a commission-approved land disposition. This one requires a 501c3 nonprofit is eligible. The next RFP 003, program implementation in existing homesteads. If it doesn't fit under 002, 4, or 5, then this is the one to apply for. I had this wrong last time. $300,000 max per application, 1.8 million total available statewide. Any program. You're creating a new program, improving or expanding an existing program. You're addressing the department regional plans or your own organization strategic plan. If your project requires it, you must have site control. Eligibility, 501c3 nonprofit. Next, RFP. RFP 004, Community Capacity Building. $20,000 maximum per application. $200,000 total available statewide. This is the only RFP that does not require a 501c3. You simply got to be registered as a state nonprofit under HRS 414D or 421J, Planned Community, or homesteads with DCCRs. Capacity areas include getting organized, applying for your 501c3, working on your community vision, mission, community outreach, engagement, events, marketing, growing your support base, board training, fund development, volunteer development, program research, and also internal administrative systems. Again, this is the only RFP where you do not have to be a 501c3. RFP 005 is brand new, disaster planning and mitigation in existing homesteads. $1 million maximum per application, $2 million total available statewide. So examples would be your wildfire prevention, education, prevention, response mitigation, planning, disaster shelters, those types of projects. This does require a 501c3 nonprofit. Okay. The key word in all of the RFPs is existing homestead. This is a condition of the funding source. The state has generously given us valuable state general funds to fund this year's DHHL grants. So we are not using any trust funds. In the attachments of the RFP is a list of existing homesteads. Please use it if you are not familiar with the homestead areas. Project leases are listed on the DHHL website under awards. Undivided homesteads are older projects. Many of them already have a homestead association. So you are welcome to contact them about your project and gain their support. A word about state general funds. As mentioned, the DHHL grants this year are funded by state general funds. The funds lapse on June 30, 2026. This means funds must be encumbered in a contract by June 30 and at the end of the state fiscal year. So we have to get through the entire process of the grant application, review, scoring, to commission approval and awards, and put the projects into a contract for you to sign. All that must be completed by June. Rapidly deploy funds. This means spend, spend, spend. By year 3, out of a total of 5 years, you should be at least 50% spent, or 50% through your work plan, or have a reasonable explanation. There is no time extensions on these grants. Any unspent funds automatically return to the state. We cannot hang on to them and reaward them as grants. If these were trust funds, we would be able to hang on to them and give them out as grants again, but not in this case. So we're looking for readiness in your organization. How quickly can you assemble your team start spending down the money? And also your project. Do you need any approvals on your project? Do you have those in hand? Or is it going to take you 6 months for ramp up time? These are the kinds of things we need to know about the readiness of your organization and your project. Okay, RFP 002. Again, do you have site control, at least a commission approved land disposition? That means a right of entry, a license, or a general lease. Do you have a business plan? What's the intended uses of your facility? The business plan will tell us what you're going to build, the size of it, exactly what kind of structure is it, if it's a structure, or you're going to be clearing the land and maintaining it. Are you going to build an office for 2 people or for 10 people? So the business plan should tell us a little bit more specifics about your facility project. That will help us understand how much funding you're looking at and will need to build the facility. You also need to talk about sustainability. The ongoing operations and maintenance of the facility, any future repairs, who's going to pay for the water bill and other utilities? What is your projected user fee for the structure? All that needs to be discussed under sustainability. And all this does affect your project cost estimates and how much money you'll need to raise overall for your project. RFP 003, are you creating a new program or modifying or expanding an existing one? How fast can you hit the ground running to get the program going? Again, the sustainability question. What is your plan to continue to fund ongoing labor, materials, supplies after the DHHL grant is done? Or is this a one-time project? You need to spell that out so the review committee can better understand your project. Do you have a program plan or a strategic plan? Again, this is a catch-all grant. If the project doesn't fit in 002, 004, or 005, this is the one to apply to. Community capacity building, RFP 004. This is the only RFP where you do not need to be a 501c3 nonprofit. The minimum eligibility is a state nonprofit, either HRS 414D, general nonprofit, or HRS 421J, planned community. You can do a lot here. For new community groups, you can use these funds to get yourself organized, have community meetings, start a community newsletter, get the word out about your organization, apply for your 501c3, grow your membership base, your base of support, build your support base beyond Homestead, other community groups, other Native Hawaiian groups, the county council, the ledge, foundations, private sector. You can also do your initial community visioning and strategic planning. For more mature organizations, maybe you need to revisit your strategic plan that you did 10, 20 years ago. Maybe your board changed drastically and you need to recruit new board members, do board training, and develop a succession plan. These are the kinds of things you can use this funding for. Maybe you need to graduate from using the QuickBooks accounting system to something more sophisticated because now you have multiple funding sources. Maybe you want to do some research into a new program area and test it out. Or maybe you simply want to do a community need survey, a door-to-door survey or something to get an idea of what the community would like to see for improvements in the future. And of course, this is the category for any community outreach, engagement, events, marketing. So this would be where you would have your Kuhio Day parade, or if you're doing some kind of a community holiday gathering. We do have one homestead that we've given a grant to where they developed a Thanksgiving emu, and they make that available to the community 4 times a year, once a quarter, and then at Thanksgiving, the entire association uses it for the whole community. So that would be an example. Disaster preparedness. This is a pretty broad category. Again, $1 million per application is a maximum, $2 million statewide. All these have a timeline of up to 5 years with no option to time extend. And this is a new grant given the interest in disaster management planning and mitigation. Do you have site control? Again, same questions. Do you have a business plan? So once, for example, if you clear the land for a fire break with the DHHL funds, how will you maintain that land clearing over time after the DHHL grants are spent? This is a pretty big criteria demonstration of community support for both your organization and your project. We've always had this criteria, but this is the first year we're actually assigning points. You get up to 20 points if you can sufficiently show and demonstrate support for your organization and for your project. So what do I mean by this? Demonstration of support for your organization means feedback from your community on your organization, who you are, what are you known, what you have been known for to provide in terms of program services that you offer. If you're a great organization because the beneficiaries appreciate your services, then send us support letters, testimonials, petitions, funder recommendation letters. Sometimes funders will write back to you saying, we really like this program. You're doing a good service to the community. Maybe you even have board members or volunteers who can say, I joined this organization because I had a good experience in what these folks do, and I believe in their mission. So something to that effect. Secondly, support for your project. This means, how did you determine this project was needed? Why are you building this community center? What are you going to use it for? How do you know this is what your community wants? So these would be things like needs surveys, assessments, community meetings, any kind of interactions with the homesteaders and lessees that can show to us that they support and they want this program, service, or facility that you're providing to the community. They can be the same supporters for both your organization or your project. And remember, review committee members may not be familiar with your community or project. So the most meaningful support would come from lessees themselves and other beneficiaries. That's the most meaningful. You're welcome to add support letters from county council, legislators, other community groups that you work with. Those are helpful as well. A new requirement across all RFPs, we have not had this before. We are requiring a logic model. And for those who have federal funds, this may be familiar to you. Logic models help us as funders to see that you thought through your project and you have a plan. You can show us the big picture and context of your project, how your project connects to and benefits homestead lessees. There should be a logical, realistic flow between your proposal input and output and reaching homestead community goals or visions, which are your outcomes and impacts. Logic models ask the why question. Why are we doing this project? To accomplish what? To change what in the community? To impact the community in what way? Try not to overthink and put too many goals and outcomes in here. Basically, we're looking for one or two things that are your priorities for each of these 4 boxes. There are 4 boxes in the logic model. Be specific. Box 1 is the inputs. Simply state what your project is. We are doing an environmental assessment under Chapter 343. Output would be, we completed the environmental assessment. Outcome 3, that would be, this will get us to our next step of due diligence and clear all the approvals and secure all the permits. And impact 4, ultimately we will have constructed our facility. It will provide a gathering place for our lessees to hold meetings, social gatherings, and cultural gatherings. That's what we're looking for. Very simple. My suggestion is you start from box number 4. What is the impact you're trying to achieve? Then work backwards. Okay, if the impact is this, we want to improve our local homestead economy. So box 1, our input is going to be, we're going to conduct a training program for lessees so they can get better jobs, they can have better job interviews, and get into more management related jobs. That would be your outputs and outcomes. So it's always best to start from the box number 4. What are you trying to change in your community? Then that'll help better define your other boxes in the logic model. Common to all the RFPs. Complete the proposal by 2 p.m. Hawaii Standard Time on January 12th. That's the deadline. Again, it's not 2:05 p.m. It's not 4 p.m. It's 2 p.m. If we receive anything after that, it's an automatic rejection. Send the proposals to dhhl.grantsrfp@hawaii.gov. We encourage you to submit a proposal in advance. This will ensure that DHHL has received it. We can open and read the proposal, and if needed, it allows time for you to resubmit before the due date. Applicants will receive a confirmation within 24 hours of application submission. If you do not, contact me, the contract administrator, right away. Either we have not received it or it was ineligible. Timetable. There's a timetable on page 6 of every RFP. Here's what it looks like. Again, the important dates. These are subject to change. If they do change, they will be posted on an addenda, and that will be on the State Procurement Office website. For now, these dates are still good. We are actively holding the pre-offer conference sessions. Today's November 12th. Please submit written questions by the December 5 deadline. DHHL will respond to questions by December 12th. January 12th, 2 p.m. is the hard deadline for all proposals. Then in the month of January, the DHHL Grants Committee will review. February, we will finish the scoring. We are shooting for February 17 commission meeting. That will be held in Kapolei. You're more than welcome to attend or join Zoom for that. provide testimony. The commission submittal is public information, so everybody will have a chance to see it before it goes to commission and can review the recommendation being made to the commission. Then March through June, we will begin the contracting review process with the awardees. Okay. Next is the solicitation description under section 1. It is your responsibility to check the HANDS website for any addenda. The department will not notify anyone when there is an addenda posted on there. Availability of funds, the award of a contract, and any allowed renewal or extension thereof are subject to the availability and allotment of federal, state, or DHHL funds. In this case, we're only using state funds, so there is no extension. So we actually should clarify that in the RFP. The award date, award information. Award period is estimated at July 1, 2026, and goes up to maximum 5 years. And there's no time extensions. So if you do not think that you can accomplish your project in 5 years, you may need to scale it down, ask for a smaller amount of realistically what you can spend within 5 years and accomplish. Otherwise, the funds go back to the state. Eligibility, we already covered this for each of the RFPs. You must be a 501c3 except for RFP 004. You don't have to be a 501c3. Again, demonstrate community support for your organization and community support for your proposed project. An organization can only submit one application per RFP. An applicant is prohibited from applying to multiple RFPs for the same or related project. You need to identify the specific homestead community that your project will be serving. Okay, that constitutes eligibility. The other important document is the Hawaii Compliance Express. This is required to do business in the state of Hawaii. I strongly suggest that the first thing you do after this meeting is check your certificate. A compliant Hawaii compliance certificate cannot be more than 60 days old from the date of your proposal. More about the Compliance Express in the next slide. Board governance certificate is to certify that you have policies on conflict of interest and nepotism, and you can produce them when asked. Hawaii Compliance Express. This is a state process. DHHL has no role in this process. You have to work directly with them if there's any problem with it. If your certificate says compliant, then you're good to go. You don't need to do anything. Just make sure you attach it to your proposal. If it says anything else, like not compliant, expired, or something called no TCR, then you need to contact Hawaii Compliance Express. If specifically you're not compliant with IRS, you will need to file what's called a state waiver. Contact the state tax department for that. The website is listed here below, so check that website. Make sure you are registered in that system so you can get your certificate. This is what a certificate looks like. See towards the middle there where it says compliant? So this particular association is compliant. If it says anything else, then you need to call Hawaii Compliance Express to get more information of what is the problem and what you need to do to fix it. Okay, we also included in every RFP is a checklist. Please use it. It's either page 29 or page 30 in the RFP. A complete proposal has 4 parts. Part 1 is application cover sheet. Part 2 is the actual proposal request itself, including your budget information. Part 3 are various forms that need to be filled in and signed, and that's where you would put all your attachments. And part 4 is for other materials, anything else you would like to include in your proposal to support your project. So anything like photographs, web screenshots, survey instruments, newsletters, flyers, anything like that. If you want to include that, you're more than welcome to. Okay, let's get to the nitty-gritty on application evaluation. There are 2 phases that the department goes through. Phase 1 is simply a review of any missing items. Any proposal with a missing item will automatically be disqualified. We will not call you and say, hey, you're missing this, this, and that, and then you can resubmit. Once we get it, we have to hold it and review it. Anything missing is an automatic disqualification. This is due to the high volume of applications we do receive. So we need to score things from the very best applications that come in. You must submit electronically. No paper copies are accepted. I continue to get applications submitted at a district office or walked in the front door. We cannot accept it. It has to be done by email. That way it is date and time stamped. Have you met the eligibility? Again, if you're not eligible, it's an automatic disqualification. The project must benefit existing homesteads. That's the focus. If it's also benefiting other beneficiaries, that's okay, but that cannot be the focus. This is a restriction due to the state funds. Do you have site control? If you do not have site control, we cannot accept the application. If you are a current grantee, receiving funds now. If you are out of compliance, not in good standing, we haven't gotten a report from you in the last 2 or 3 quarters, you're not eligible. Hawaii Compliance Express Certificate, that needs to be included. If you do not have that, it's an automatic disqualification. Phase 2 is the point scoring. There's a total of 100 points. We are scoring on these categories. Organizational capacity, that's your entire project team. Who's on your board, your consultants, your project managers, staff, volunteers. Who do you have on your team that has the experience, track record, the knowledge and ability to successfully conduct this project? Community support, we talked about that earlier, that is 20 points. Project readiness, shovel ready. We're looking for projects that can hit the ground running as soon as possible. Again, we need to deploy these funds in a very timely fashion. I've had grantees who haven't spent a dime for 2 years in the first 2 years. That's not a good sign. Okay, then maybe you should apply next year if you're not going to be able to be ready. Beneficiary involvement is 15 points. How have the beneficiaries been involved in planning? And how will they be involved in implementing your project? Sustainability. What will happen to the project after the department funds are spent? What's your long-term plan to keep the project going? Matching funds and in-kind donations. They are not required to be eligible. However, for those that do have it, this will earn you up to 5 points. That'll earn you up to 5 points. Then we have an other category of up to 10 points. We're looking at grantee prior performance. If you had funds from us before, are you filling a gap in services in the homestead that no one else is doing? Are you working with your neighbor homestead in complementing each other's services, not duplicating or conflicting with each other? And we also need to look at the geographic distribution of projects across the state. It's all going to depend on who comes in and applies, where they're from, and what kind of distribution we can have to balance out to make sure that every homestead across the state has the best chance and has the best project that we can fund. There are a set of attachments in each RFP. The first is the monthly lease report, which identifies all of the existing homesteads and the number of lessees in those homesteads. So that's handy information to please explain which homestead you are serving and how many lessees you are benefiting. Then we include the state general conditions, which is attached to every state contract, so you know what that looks like and what's included. And we include the state contract forms, again, so you can see what it looks like and what you will be expected to sign if you are awarded. Forms. Please answer the questions in the grant application forms directly and completely. Answer the questions best you can. If you don't know the answer, then say so, or how you're going to go about researching to get the answers. Okay. Again, we want to see how ready your project is. There are some forms that say sample. The applicant has the discretion to the format as long as the content does not change. You can also print it on your own organization's letterhead if you want to. Provide your community outreach plan. How do you communicate with the community? Newsletters, emails, or text messages, or you go door to door, you hold community meetings. Again, what are some of those examples of how do you gain support from the communities and from other beneficiaries in your homestead? Support may include things like surveys, needs assessments, petitions, letters of support, board resolutions from the neighboring associations. Meeting sign-in sheets are very, very good documentation. Here's what the checklist looks like. Please use these. This is on page 29 or page 30 of the RFP. Try and make sure you check off every item on here so that your application is complete. Here are some important websites and contact information. DHHL grants website and the State Procurement Office HANDS website. Please note the two different email addresses. DHHL.grantsrfp@hawaii.gov is where you send your proposal. DHHL.grants@hawaii.gov is where you send written questions. Okay, I'm not going to go over the next two slides. You could read those on your own. They're just a few words and tips on what a good good proposal, looks like. And now we can get into questions. We have a few minutes to answer questions, and we can start with the chat box. So let me go there. I'll stop sharing. Okay. It doesn't look like we have any questions. Any questions on the phone? Or anyone want to ask a question?
Hi, this is Luana. I had a couple of questions for clarification. Form G and Form H, I'm assuming you don't need letters, emails, petition, support letters for those forms, right? One is the financial statement and one is the Hawaii Compliance Express.
Yeah, you just simply attach your certificate and you attach your financial statement.
Okay, and then Form M, indirect cost rate agreement. In the past, we use not applicable, but do you have an indirect cost table that you're using?
No, we don't. Usually we just recognize what the federal, your federal cognizant agent
Okay, so federal
negotiable
okay.
agreement. Yeah.
Fed cost rate, got it. And then it also says all pages must be numbered. So can we delete the page footers on all the forms before we number them?
Oh, sure. Use whatever pages make sense to you.
Yeah, because some of them are already pre-numbered, and then we're going to be adding as we include the body of
Oh,
our.
yeah, your proposal will be different.
Okay,
Yes.
all right.
There's a question about, can we have a copy of the slides? The slides are already posted on the DHHL grants webpage. They're underneath the November 7 meeting. It's the same exact slides. So those are already posted and available.
By the way, I just wanted to add information about the Hawaii Compliance Express, the change with IRS and the non-compliant, if anybody wanted information about that. So the IRS is no longer participating with the Hawaii Compliance Express. So in order for nonprofit organizations to get we're never going to get a compliant certificate if we have to annually re-register because the IRS no longer provides that support. So when you contact the tax director's office, you have to give them 3 pieces of information: your organization's EIN number, the name of your organization, and what nonprofit status you are, and then ask that you're looking for this because the IRS does not provide TCRs for nonprofit organizations. And then they give you a 1-page document, and you will have to provide the Hawaii Compliance Express, where it's going to show non-compliant, with this letter from the tax office, Department of Taxation.
Right, right. There's a, so state agencies were notified of the change. It happened last month.
Yep.
And it affects certain vendors. It affects all nonprofits in the state, homestead or not. It also affects LLCs, limited liability companies, and LLPs, limited liability partnerships. There was a whole list.
Yeah.
But you do have to file what's called a state waiver.
Right.
So you have to contact the state tax department directly, and they will walk you through what that waiver is. Yes. Yeah, something new that, it's just the way it is. And unfortunately, if you do any business with the state of Hawaii and you're not a nonprofit, you have to go through this every time.
Yeah, fun.
Anything else?
Hi, this is Raylene. A lot of this is foreign to me. However, the acronym IRS is not. So, Luana, is it possible for me to get your contact information so I can report that what you're talking about with the IRS in
Sure, I'll send
specific?
it. Yeah,
Okay,
I'll send it to you in the chat.
okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Thanks, Gigi. Sorry about that.
Sure, sure. Yeah, so we are encouraging associations as well as other nonprofits that work with the homesteads. Please apply. This is the first year we've had twice double our budget. So we have more money than we know what to do with. The grants program has been small over the years. This year with $10 million, that's the biggest amount we've ever had. So I know there's a lot of community need out there. So please send us, the best applications you can. We would love to fund as many as we can. We don't want to lose any of the state money. So, please talk to others that maybe you're collaborating with other homesteads in your area. There are some areas of the state, there's 2 or 3 homesteads in the area. Maybe there's a project you guys are working on together, or you've been wanting to work on together that, you haven't been able to get to. Or there's a new program you want to look into. You need to do some research in there. Or you have existing programs and you've got a funding gap. I know the counties have been slow in issuing permits, and that's caused a lot of delays and cost overruns. So if there's anything like that you can think of that supports your community projects, please come in and apply. We hope to get this level of funding over the next 3 to 5 years. So far, so good. This is the 3rd year we've gotten state funding. But in the past, it's been like 5 million. This is the first time it's been 10 million. So.
Thank you so much for your information.
Yeah,
Yes,
thank
you're
you, Gigi.
welcome. Okay, if there's no other questions, we can call it the end of the meeting. And I look forward to everybody's applications. And you all have a good evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good night.
Okay, good night. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.